We are live.
Welcome to Empty Vessels, where we ask you the question,
what are you consuming?
I'm
Mike.
Not bad. I am Tom. All right, we'll work on this. We're going to get this right.
We're going to get one of these days.
Get this right. But this is Mike. I'm Tom. This is the man here.
I mean, you're the man.
No. I mean, I invested in some new equipment to make sure.
I'm feeling that you're trying to do a little pinball wizard or something like this.
Exactly.
What's going on here, man?
You got it. Exactly. Just like the Who. But,
cool.
Hey, man, in all seriousness, let me get this stuff off, but I am really happy about how this podcast has been coming along, because in all seriousness, I watched the episode last time, and not that I was laughing my balls off or anything like that. And by that, I mean basketballs.
Whoa. Hey, we're getting all sorts of like feedback and stuff. Hold on.
Holy goodness. Well, this is going really well.
All right. We got this. All right.
So anyway, I could tell that the bar was set there, so we got to get over it. But no, seriously, last Saturday, I was watching it on Saturday morning over coffee and cereal and everything, and we definitely got a good thing going. So
speaking of bars, you said, speaking of consuming things, you mentioned that you went to a fabulous restaurant in the city.
Yes.
Tell me about this.
So check it out. So Jessica and I, we took a road trip to the city on Tuesday. That's my fiance, by the way. And, I took a day off work.
Not to confuse her with somebody else or something else you've said in prior shows, but carrying on.
Well, yeah, no. You know what? As a matter of fact, I brought that up with her. It's like, you need to watch this part, and you also need to watch that I'm clarifying that was the wrong thing to say. So, I covered myself so that I don't end up like Will Smith and Jada Pinkett. So, but we went to the city. Applewood Diner. Oh my goodness. Applewood Diner in somewhere in Manhattan. A lot of buildings and stuff, but
we'll post a link later.
Yeah, great food. I ducked in there. So Jessica,
what did you eat?
I just had the standards, just like eggs, sausage. That's like my go-to.
All right.
And I think I mentioned to you that my friend Heather, she's colleague at the web development firm. She does not like eggs, but had it anyway. Anyway, that's what I had. I consumed.
That's your go-to. Speaking of go-tos, my go-to is usually a Reuben, especially when I go to a diner. And I happen to have had Sheeran's Reuben on Sunday.
Sheeran's is freaking great.
They had a really good one, I have to say. But the Reuben is my test subject when I go to a diner, because if you're gonna mess that up, you'll probably mess up some of the other stuff too.
True. Good Reuben. We were at Sheeran's Diner, I think, like about 3 weeks ago.
Which is in Stony Point, by the way. Is that your hometown? Yeah.
Well, Queens is my hometown. That's where I grew up. Yeah.
I thought you were a North Rockland boy.
Well, I slipped in here at around the age of 7.
That counts.
Yeah. Well, my grandfather
graduated. You're a Red Raider.
Yeah. I graduated from North Rockland, so it counts.
It counts. Right.
This is how we're cementing our legacy.
To go to Stony Music Fest on June 25th.
That's right. A reminder, everyone, the Stony Music Fest, June 25th, 6 bands on stage. All day, overlooking the Hudson River. You got to check it out. And if you're looking at this podcast on YouTube, just click on this QR code. Oh yeah.
You got it.
The Stony Music Fest. There it is.
The Stoners of the Music Fest.
Yes. I don't know anything about that, but anyway.
Well, that's why I'm your guide.
Yes, exactly. Walking through things, and yes. So what did you consume this week?
As I said, I had a Reuben, and I had that Reuben after I worked on this really cool gig. I started working as a production assistant for a photographer, and my job was to pass out lenses and camera and stuff like that. But we were in this theater in Hunter College, and we were doing film shoots for this like cool kids opera thing where they mixed together a bunch of opera songs. And they made a whole joke, and they kind of explained to people what opera was all about, and they did a lot of the kind of fun kid stuff that I do with my children, which is like take tunes and then say whatever you want to say. So the whole idea of the aria is that you're just talking over music. So I was teaching my children about that.
Wow, really neat. The classical early on. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I don't know what I would teach my kids if I'm ever blessed with kids.
Okay.
It's a blessing, right? Never stressful.
My children are exceptional. Sometimes they are exceptional pains in the asses. Hi, kids. How are you? They can't watch this. It's not for kids.
I know, cementing a legacy.
Okay, look at that.
I don't know what I would try to imbue upon my children. One would say music, that sort of vibe, but I'm not exactly sure if that would be the thing. It might be about something else, and I haven't figured it out yet. But
art, philosophy, creativity, being oneself, and doing nice things for others.
Yeah.
I say this to my children who have white privilege as you and I do. White privilege! And the most important thing you can do with your white privilege is help those who don't have it.
Yeah, why not? Why the heck not? If it exists, turn it around to do something good.
That's what the message I give my children, and I give to all of you. Help others who are less fortunate.
That's 100%. And I can relate to that because we didn't grow up with much like when I was a kid. At one point, and you mentioned Tompkins Memorial Church on last week's episode of the podcast. That
Which
church,
she runs is right across though.
Yes,
certainly,
indeed.
Anyway, your story.
See, you're good at this too. Just so you know. You're pretty darn. But we used to go there for church every Sunday. And not to get into too much of history and background, we had a lot of time together to talk about it. But we were on public assistance.
Okay.
And many's the time that the Tompkins Memorial Church stepped in and provided grocery bags of food for me and my mom. So it's deep in my soul about that. So when you said that, that really taps into something.
Yeah. Give to those less fortunate than you.
Yep. Amen to that. So that's what you consumed this week. Did you go on any cool trips or anything?
Went into the city as you did. I always see that as a trip, even though we're so close to the city. It's still one of those things. Like, although I'm only first generation out of Brooklyn, I am not a city kid. I am North Rockland, half a straw.
See, I didn't know you were from Brooklyn.
I was not born in Brooklyn. My family's from Brooklyn.
Okay.
Like generations of Brooklyn, and my parents moved up to a little old town of Haverstraw. And my mother will be celebrating her 50th year in the house that I grew up in.
Oh, it's fantastic.
In July. Yeah,
it's fantastic. God bless her.
So,
very cool.
So yeah, I got my roots are here.
Mm-hmm.
My roots.
Yeah,
are
we can't tell that to the multi-generational families that are watching this podcast. We can't tell that. We've been here since the 1880s. That's all you need to know.
No, since we were 18. No. And hopefully till we get to 80.
I think you mentioned you went to the museum as well. There was a specific
no. So I work at Rockland Community College, and they have a Holocaust museum on the campus, and I support all of the AV events, and one of them happened to have been an event about the Holocaust Museum, and they had a gentleman there who was one of he was one of the patent what do you call himself? Not freedom fighters, but liberators, patent liberators. So
you mean
he was one? He was
WW2 liberator?
Yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah,
okay.
Like this guy's almost 100. He said he was 17 or 18 when he got in. He was one of the youngest in his thing, and he was talking about the atrocities and all of those things, and how horrible it was, and how he was talking to high school kids. And the message he kept bringing back to, like, when you boil everything down, don't hate. You don't have to like everything. Don't hate. Alan Moskin, I think is his name, says don't hate, and I agree with him. Don't hate. Indeed,
absolutely. So, I mean, I think if we correlate that with what's happening overseas, it doesn't even have to be first-party hate. I mean, for instance, and I don't think that this is a dangerous thing to say online, but I mean, Russia's obviously causing horrible atrocities right now. And it's not even just hate toward Ukraine. It's really third-party hate toward the West, if you will. And they just don't like capitalism and such. So it bothers me. I mean, hate can definitely form many different methods. It's not just about emotion. It's also about policies and things like that resonate over time. So anyway, but that's one side of the equation. But that's cool that you went to the museum there.
Well, again, the museum came to me because they were doing events in my space. It was just interesting to meet Alan, because again, he's a living artifact right now who has a really cool story to tell. So if you have a chance, go check it out. It's a little heavy. It's a little heavy. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
I had to listen to him talk for
But
a couple of days. It was heavy.
Yeah.
One of the things he was talking about is that most of his generation are dying, and he's concerned that when people like him are gone, then the naysayers are going to come out and say that it was made up. And he wants to make sure everyone knows that the Holocaust was not made up because he was there. Yeah. He saw it.
I think there's enough database documentation on the whole thing.
You would be surprised, and I'm sure we have listeners out there who would say that many things are hoaxes and all of that. But killing a bunch of people during war, none of that happened.
Right, exactly. It's wild. You know, it's funny you mentioned about your colleague that he was worried about his friends passing away and so on and so forth. I have a client that created a very interesting business. Okay. It's called My Great Goodbye. And it's essentially about having a good death, as good as a death can be. Not like running like a Viking all the way up to the top of the hill.
What if you wanted to
swords
do that?
And everything.
What if you wanted that?
Well, that's for Dungeons and Dragons, like you mentioned on the podcast.
But you could do that in your final days.
I mean, you could. VR is coming, little virtual reality, and then my guess is that's probably where I'll meet my physical form end. Who the heck knows?
You'll just jump into the whole VR. Isn't Elon Musk talking about us uploading our consciousness into robots?
I know.
Like I don't know how you feel. You're excited about that?
I don't know. You know, I watch Picard. I watch Star Trek Picard all the time.
I only watched the first season. I haven't watched the second season.
Well, you know what happened at the end of the first season?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm just going to say Picard.
No spoilers to those who haven't watched it.
All right. Well, it definitely brings up questions of who is Picard? What is Picard?
Or who is Locutus?
Who is Locutus? A
little nerdy, a little nerdism for us.
Well, before we move on to a very important topic, I'd just like to toast.
I'm just going to drink some water here for now, but we are going to toast with some Omegang.
So to those that we've loved and lost, cheers.
Cheers.
Okay. I have a special thing for you.
Hey, wait. What are you doing?
That just sounded weird. All right.
Wait.
I have a special surprise for you. That sounded even more weird. Okay. I have something for you.
I thought this was not going to be one of those kinds of shows.
You know, you bring this up, and I think you're trying to brand me as like this weirdo. All right?
I mean, we are both weirdos. That's why.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
So, Weirdo Tommy, what are you trying to reveal to the class?
It's not going to be
he's stepping off camera, folks.
But
the big reveal. I can tell you it's red. All I can tell you is that it's red.
Since we talked about this on the show.
I'm not going to look at it until it goes on the camera. I will watch it at the same time as all of you. 4 out of 3 people.
So this is what happened on the podcast last week.
Really?
All right.
That was the big reveal?
It was the big reveal. All right. So here's the thing. I mean, it's not funny anymore because I brought it up and all that. That was funny. But so on last week's podcast, Mike was grilling me. And I think
what was I grilling you on?
I forget, but it was awesome. It was awesome. It was just I love it. So
apparently Tommy likes to hang out on the grill.
This was my retort to one of the things that he said. He was like talking about statistics and everything. I said 4 out of 3 people struggle with math. And it threw you off for a second. It was the first time that I've ever seen a little and I think I know why.
Why is that?
Because you are, like me, a math nerd.
Kind of, yes.
Yeah. So.
And I hang out with math nerds.
Okay. All right. So I had
Dr. Chuck Rocca, there's one to you.
Uh-huh. And I'm thinking that that's another thing that we kind of coincide with, and we can go into theories about certain things.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
theories of relativity, theories of alcohol by volume. I mean, anyway.
Well, you did mention, I mean, especially with the craft beer that you have once again.
I love craft beer.
Mm-hmm. So now we have that opportunity to look at ABVs on bottles with craft beer, and
you should also look at IBUs, International Bittering Units.
What's that?
I don't think that's actually what it is. I have to look that up again. The IBU number is the bigger the number, the more bitter it is. More hops they have shoved in that beer.
This is good information because I don't like hops.
No, you don't like a lot of hops.
Or you need a little bit of hops in
You
order
need a
for
little
it
bit
to
of
be a good.
Well, unless you're making a special beer called a gruit, which does not use hops, you need to have a preservative. Hops happens to be both a bittering agent to balance the sweet and a preservative.
Interesting.
My favorite hops, funnily enough, I just made that word up. Funnily, kids don't write that up. That's gonna be a Webster's. It's actually called the Fuggle. 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 That's my favorite hop. It is earthy. It's found mostly in English beers, like stouts, and it's mild.
By the way, I found out on Tuesday or Wednesday, I forget which day it was, but that not all malt beers are the same.
That is true.
And I'm just getting into the understanding of craft beer.
What would you like to know?
I don't know specifically what I need to know. I just want to be immersed in everything about craft beer.
So you want to be in that scene in that movie where he fell into the beer tank and he just drank himself to death.
That would be a good start. Batman?
No. It was a silly slapstick beer movie, and I'm losing its name right now.
All right, we got to look that up. We're going to find out for next week.
Anyway, moving on.
All right. So Batman. We saw
which one?
Well, the new one, the Batman.
We're back to the Batman. Was that episode 2 we talked about the Batman?
We did talk about the Batman.
Right.
All right. No, we actually weren't talking. I was talking about hops, but there should be some hops.
Yes,
is basically what you're saying.
Unless you're making a special beer, most of them have hops in them. Yes.
Okay.
So you need at least a little bit.
Like percentage, like 5% or?
Name me 3 beers that you like that are similar.
Oh, similar?
Similar beers.
All right. Well, I would go with this one. Definitely Abbey Ale by Omegang.
Okay.
It's another one also is, but Three Philosophers.
Okay.
Also by Omegang. And then the third would probably be, think about this for a minute, probably Sam Adams. And I know you're going to make fun of me, but
no.
Okay. Notice I didn't say Bud Premium.
Most of those probably, and that bottle actually might have an IBU rating on it. So I would say are probably less than 20. Look right here. Didn't say anything over there.
Just alcohol volume and stuff like that.
But
we can look it up.
We'll have to look that up. We'll look it up later. We'll post it on the link part after, right?
Yeah, we'll put it on the interwebs.
Right? The interwebs, because we have the power of Google. But we don't want to stop the flow of the show, so let's keep going.
Oh, speaking of Google, and I feel like I'm talking too much. We should talk about, I don't know, anything.
What about Google?
Okay. So I started watching, and this is another thing that I consumed this week.
Okay.
I saw a new series on Showtime.
Okay.
That's fucking amazing. I'm sorry.
What made it so amazing?
I'm not supposed to curse on this show, but it was freaking amazing, man. Holy goodness. All right.
What was it?
Superpumped. The Battle for Uber. It is. I have not been this excited.
It's called what?
Superpumped. The Battle for Uber.
Superpumped. The Battle for Uber.
Yes.
I will have to check this out this week, and I will try and report back if I can get through it, because it seems a little strange.
I know. And I got to tell you, and I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I mean, this is just the way I am, and what can I do about it, right?
Yeah.
There's a certain pace and frequency to all of our thought processes.
Okay.
This is my hypothesis and such. And being able to deliver the thoughts at the same rate as the thoughts as they come out, or process them and put them in the right compartment so that they can be handled later by action and blah, 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 blah. It really is, I think, aligning with one's body, mind, spirit, and all that good stuff, right?
Tying us back to what are you consuming? I'm liking this. Okay.
Superpumped. Okay. Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays Travis Kalanick, who is the founder of Uber.
Okay.
Now, I'm not through the whole thing. There's about 6 episodes right now, and to the 4th one. And obviously, Travis Kalanick has done some questionable things. So I'm not trying to talk about that. The way that Joseph Gordon-Levitt portrays this character is great.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, because he gets out up on stage, he goes, these are the core principles that we as Uberites should be doing, and we want to be super pumped 24/7, 360 mother 5 per year. And see, I get off on that stuff. I'm like, yes. And then I got
I'm
on the
like
phone.
blah 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 blah.
Well, there is some to that. There is some to that, but the pace at the way that he was doing all this stuff, I was amazed, and it really helped my week.
Oh, good.
So I think I'm going to start a new immersion therapy.
Going back to our main theme of things, you consume something that brought you up.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
We talk a lot about music. I find that music is probably one of the number one things that bring you and I up. Not necessarily the same music, but similar stuff.
Yeah, we both get into that.
Right. Certainly the music at Stony Music Fest on June 25th.
That's right, June 25th. 6 bands on stage all day overlooking the Hudson River. Tickets on sale this month.
Hey, I heard that there's going to be vendors there, and one of them is going to be a massage.
I heard that a really cool person lined up a massage person to be at the Stony Music Fest as a vendor.
And do we have any other vendors yet?
Not as of yet, but I do have a few surprises in addition to the 6 bands.
Hold on. Do our audience members have a way to contact you if they want to be a vendor at Stony Music Fest?
Well, it's funny. You can visit stonymusicfest.com. Not only can you get tickets starting next week, but you will also be able to sign up as a vendor. And I want to thank FJ Datoma Construction, Emerald's Retirement, Dana Pest Control, and Rocklands News for coming back as sponsors of the event. We appreciate every one of you.
Awesome. I'll be there. He'll be there.
We're going to be there together. And here's the reason why that's awesome. We're going to be sitting at the soundboard.
Doing this. It won't be here. It'll be the Hudson River. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Good times.
So we were talking about something else before we got distracted with Stony Music Fest.
It happens sometimes. But we were consuming things and showtime with Uber and whatnot. But I was really inspired by that. But I don't know. I
want to kind of segue into going back to a foodie thing.
All right.
So, as you know, Tommy, I like to garden a lot. I have plants growing all over my house, including in my bedroom. And one of the things that I have growing in my bedroom is lettuce and basil and some other things.
Kale.
And not kale. But I was really enjoying the fact that I was having a sandwich in front of my TV, and I was like, I want some greens on my salad. And I just walked over, a pair of scissors, clipped over some basil and some lettuce, and laid it on the sandwich. It was delightful.
That's awesome.
Right? It just makes your body better when you can eat the fresh vegetables that you grew. And I didn't even have to leave my bedroom.
That's pretty awesome.
Right? So just goes to show what you... And both the basil and the lettuce were scrap vegetables that I rerouted.
So the process for... choosing the right vegetables, and you have to plan months in advance for growing these various things.
Well, like I just said, the basil was given to me in February as one of those. You go to the supermarket and you get the basil with the root bomb, so you can have it fresh.
Mm-hmm.
She handed me the half-used basil, and I chopped it and turned it into like 15 plants already.
That's cool.
And the lettuce, the romaine hearts, you just strip away the lettuce. And you leave a little core nubbin, put that in water, it will grow you more lettuce.
How long does that usually take, all that process? Like from seed to
it's not seed, and that's
esophagus.
The fact is that you're actually cloning and you're just regrowing the plant. So you're just kind of growing and using at the same time.
Okay.
So really what I did...
Sustainable.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
So I'm taking something that would normally be thrown away and just continuing to grow it and use it.
Mm-hmm.
So the lettuce was like, I don't know, I ate a couple leaves. A couple days later, I ate another leaf.
Mm-hmm.
A couple days later, there's another leaf. And it just keeps growing. And you have like 3 or 4, so you can pick off a couple of plants and enough to have a sandwich every day.
That's pretty awesome. I always think in terms of the way that our farmers, they take care of every consumer inside of the United States, allegedly. But I know we have imported foods coming in from other countries. I don't understand.
Keep those supply lines short.
Yeah, exactly. That's basically what I'm getting at. But in my mind, I'm I can't comprehend, and this is, mathematically,
Right.
I can't comprehend the amount of food that needs to be farm produced on a daily. I'm not even talking about cows, chickens, and
Right.
eggs and produce and meat and everything. I'm talking about simply about plants.
Right.
The amount that has to be produced in order to feed Americans for one day.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And here's part of the problem is corporations have made food type items. And those food type items, and I say that because they're made not from fresh plant ingredients so much as like what is high fructose corn syrup?
Sugar.
Right? It's but it's sugar that's extra sugar.
Yeah.
So
it's like sugar
that extra
on
doesn't necessarily
crack.
mean better. There's something to be said about having simple foods. There's a section in a show called Cook, written, which was a Netflix show done on Michael Pollan's book,
Mm-hmm.
where he goes into why America has moved away from cooking in the kitchen and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the topics he was talking about was bread, and how at one point they thought that stripping the husk of the flour so you're left with just the regular old white flour was good for business.
Right.
But except it took all the ingredients out of the bread, so it made everybody sick. And their answer was not put the stuff back. Their answer was to make Wonder Bread.
Thanks a freaking bunch, sort of thing.
They didn't go back and solve the problem. They just answered the problem with a patch, and then caused another problem, which they answered with a patch. And we're in this place of food where they've answered these problems that they themselves have created with these patches, and we're all paying for it.
Bums ain't sharpening the saw there.
Well, the answer to that, and the number one non-violent revolution thing that you can do is grow your own food.
Right. Tend to your own gardens, people. And actually, that's a great line from the book Candide.
Okay.
The premise of the book is essentially it's this average young man, maybe like 20, 25 years old. And all this crap is going on around him. Wars, pestilence, people that he knows are getting killed, everything like that. It's a really depressing book. It's called Candide by Voltaire.
Oh, Voltaire.
Yes, exactly.
That's heavy.
You know what I'm talking about.
That's heavy.
All right. So at the end of the book, the guy goes to the wise man. He goes, with all these terrible things that are happening. Yeah, I'm pointing.
I'm the wise ass man.
Yeah, well, that works too. And he's like, all these terrible things that are going on around us, and all this pestilence and violence and this like that. And he says to the wise man, he's like, what can we do in the midst of all this? And the wise man says, he goes, well, we tend to our gardens.
It's true.
So,
because I'm going to have tomatoes and corn and lettuce and potatoes and all sorts of things by the time this summer's over.
Mm-hmm. What are you going to have? Huh? Will you have potatoes?
What will you consume?
And asparagus?
No.
And
what will you consume?
Well, what will you consume? You at home.
What about you?
Well, me too. Yeah.
What are you doing?
Actually, all right, that's a good point, because aside from all the, like, we went to the city to do the appointment and everything, stress galore. Oh, Maron, the stress galore. One of our servers, it had like a patch that we had to put on at 10 o'clock at night on Wednesday. Yeah, it's like very cerebral stuff. Yeah. That was one thing. And then we had a project for a really nice thing. It's a medical device that, it's a cover for a medical device for pediatric children that are born prematurely. And the device is a little bit scary for kids in the ICU. So this item goes over it. It's kind of like a stuffed animal that sort of looking at comforts the kid.
Okay.
Yeah. So we flopped the design on the first try, and we had to like scramble to get the new design the right way. And I think everybody's happy right now. I mean, we're going to check in with our client and everything like that, but I wanted to make sure that they were happy. So we put in some extra hours last night. So I'm a little exhausted today.
Well, we're glad you're here sharing what you've consumed.
Thank you. And I'm glad you shared all the stuff that you mentioned.
Music. We haven't really talked about music. Have you heard of the band called Wet Leg?
Wet Leg?
Yes.
I have not.
It's some girls from the Isle of Wight, I think, in England. But you should definitely check them out. I heard them on 107.1 The Peak because that's the local radio I like to listen to. And they like to play new music on Wednesdays. I heard them.
Did they play?
I hear them on the radio, but they're from the Isle of Wight, I think.
Does that mean that they have white privilege?
I believe so.
That was horrible. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
You're not even a dad.
I am a horrible comedian.
Dad jokes.
Man. I should never be let out in public.
Well, unless you're on. You know what? I want you to save up those dad jokes for Stony Music Fest.
Yes, June 20th. June 25th.
I want to see how many times I can get
June 25th. Just like do the break the fourth wall. June 25th. 6 bands on stage all day, overlooking the Hudson River. Like, oh my god!
If you have cool stuff to sell, come tell us. Maybe
exactly.
Do you have T-shirts?
That's right. Oh my
Don't let him do.
I'm sorry for. I want to apologize to you, Mike, for lowering the quality of this show.
You have to give me a challenge to try and raise it back up.
Well, I'm giving you all the material that you need for years. So anyway,
let's see. Oh, if you want to know more about gardening or see some of the plants, if you look on my YouTube site, which you would have found on this live show, there are some shorts with my pictures of my plants that I've been growing since January, February. So go check them out.
I also will check them out because I've only reviewed our previous shows, but I know you have more material on there.
There are some really cool waterfall videos to this sacred place that I go to.
Really interesting.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what else is on there. Mostly it's like plants and us doing this. So
yeah, good times.
Let's see. What else do you want to talk about? Oh wait, you were eyeing this. This is a game called Puff Puff Pass. And I told Tommy.
What is this game about, Mike?
I told Tommy that this game, it's really a silly game, but it's not really a game you play to win as much as a game you play to have discussions. So we're going to split the deck here.
I love discussions.
And you're going to read this card.
Out loud?
Oh, this is not going to help.
Yeah.
But the deck has random things that you can converse, but it's meant to have a bunch of people around the table.
You read the one that what is it? Are our phones listening to us right now?
I say yes.
Oh, they're totally listening to us right now.
Let's see. Let's pick another Puff Puff Pass.
You know how I know
Trivia.
that? It's because the podcast is being recorded on my phone.
It's true. I know.
All right. Trivia. According to a study, when surgeons did this for over 3 hours a week, they made 37 fewer errors and completed surgeries 27% faster.
Video games.
I was going to say Spank the Monkey.
It's video games. Anyway, Puff Puff Pass. You got a little trivia today. I thought you said it wasn't going to be that kind of show.
I'm sorry.
Spanking the monkey on a show.
All right. We should end there, I guess. Let me put on my shame outfit again.
Shame. All right. Tommy's going to go take off and do a flyby. You know, he's got Top Gun's calling him. So
control to Major Tom.
You're not a major.
No, I'm just a sergeant.
Maybe Lieutenant Tom. Maybe second lieutenant. Something
like that.
I don't know.
You can be captain, brother. You can be captain.
I'll be Captain Beer Guy.
Yes.
All right. And on that note, sayonara and consume good stuff and tell us about it.
Consume good stuff. We look forward to your comments. And please tell us how we can increase the popularity of this show. Actually, we don't care about that. Be really good hosts for watching this show. So please give us your comments. Let us know how you'd like us to enhance it. And we look forward to doing many more podcasts on MT Vessels.
Yeah, man. Ask us questions. Bye.
Peace out. I think I flubbed the end. Sorry about that.